Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Sip and Spill Your Truth, where we grab our tea, take a seat, and have real, raw conversations about self love, healing, and spiritual growth.
We're your hosts, Shareatha and Khari, two intuitive souls who have been through the highs and lows of healing. And we're here to help you navigate your journey with wisdom, truth, and a little bit of tea.
This is your safe space to explore self improvement, break free from toxic patterns, and embrace the best version of yourself, one sip at a time.
So grab your favorite tea, settle in, and let's spill some truth.
What we're going to talk about in this episode: how spirituality plays a role in healing from trauma, the connection between spiritual growth and emotional well being, our personal journeys of healing through spirituality, practical spiritual practices that aid in trauma recovery, how to reconnect with yourself and your inner guidance, affirmations and reflections to support your healing journey. It is a deeply personal journey, and spirituality can be a powerful tool in the process. But what does spiritual healing really look like? How can we use our spiritual practices to move through pain into wholeness? I had to move through pain in two parts. I needed to find ways to accept my mental illness so that I could heal, so I could begin to heal. Then I could open my spirit to my spiritual journey so that I could heal the core issues that caused me to have a mental illness. Ultimately, I had to learn to love my flaws in order for me to heal and move through my pain so that I could be whole. Spiritual healing is messy and it looks different for most people. Although the modalities are the same, we use them differently and in our own ways. And some help others more than others. Wait, some help more than others for most people. That is why spiritual healing is messy and unique to you.
Before we dive in, let's start with this. How has spirituality played a role in your personal healing journey? Well, I guess you can say me crying out to Jesus and God and finally accepting the spiritual path has helped me. When I realized I was psychic, I would do readings for people, and me helping other people made me realize that I'm not the only one going through stuff, and that people, that we're all alike and people go through stuff just like me. And it made me
Mhm,
realize that we all are on a spiritual journey. You know, some of us
mhm.
are just aware of it and some of us aren't. So the spiritual journey is helping me heal. It's helping me realize that I'm human and I'm here on this earth to learn and to grow. And I realize that, I'm not the only one that's going through it. So
Through
that,
helping other people.
yeah, so that definitely has helped me realize that, my imperfections, everyone, we all go through it.
Hmm. Very true.
Mm-hmm.
I would say religious before spiritual, even though it's pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
That I figured that out now. But like I would, always pray and talk to God and, when I needed help on my journey and when I was stuck and through religion, I actually found my spirituality and was led to heal my spirit in a different way after I healed my mental illness and I guess and got all the baggage that was keeping me from healing my core issues out the way first so that I could begin to deal with my core issues that I didn't realize I had. Like, I found out that I had abandonment issues. I know I had boundary issues. That was an ongoing issue.
Mm-hmm.
What else was surprised me? Oh, I don't like feeling uncomfortable. Like, if I'm uncomfortable, I'm just unhappy. I just found out that disappointment is a big one for me too. Like, those are like core. Fear is a core one too. Like, and so like yesterday, I was talking to my guides, and I was like, it seems like it's these hard issues that are the big issues. I mean, the hard emotions are the big issues. And they was like, yeah, that's what it is for everybody. It's like that are at the core of your healing journey and you needing to get through, to look at those and why you have those feelings, and why they control you so much. And so I will say that spirituality has helped me the most on my healing journey.
Okay. In this episode, we're exploring how spirituality helps with trauma recovery. Healing through spirituality is different for everyone, and we want to share how it has shaped our own paths. We'll talk about the moments that challenged us, the breakthroughs that changed us, and the lessons we've learned along the way. As you listen, we invite you to reflect on your own journey. What role has spirituality played in your healing? Have you ever had moments where you doubted your path? Grab your tea, settle in, and let's sip and reflect together.
For me, I would say spirituality was a foreign idea. The only thing I knew about it was religion, and I didn't connect the dots that religion is spirituality when I was in religion. And so I rejected the idea of spirituality most of my life until I came to a crossword where I realized that there is only the divine universe and it is loving as long as you want to vibe high. So for me, there is no heaven and hell. There's just low vibrational and high vibrational. And the thing that separates you is whether you choose love over hate or hate over love. That is what my guides tell me. That we human want to make it complicated when it isn't. We are souls having a human experience so that we can help our souls elevate on our soul's journey. It's as simple as that. We get limited when we want to make it more complex than it is. Earth is a school for us to learn how to cope and transmute our emotions so that we can learn how to be unfuckwittable. That is why we are so triggered by so many things in our life so that we can learn how to remove the triggers, but we instead ignore or hold on to those low vibrational emotions and then suppress them instead of taking the time to examine why they are triggering us because we live in a fast paced world and some people think fast because of their zodiac signs are air and fire, but the earth and water signs cannot cannot. They have to do things slowly because they were born under that sign. That means that half of us need to be doing things slower and the other half can keep the same pace because they are quick thinkers, but sometimes their quick thinking can get them in trouble so that they have to slow down to get out of trouble. That is why the divine universe is channeling messages through certain people to help us all evolve our soul one day at a time. Spirituality gave me a sense of purpose once I committed to my path. I fought long and hard to stay stuck in what I thought was my purpose. It had me stuck in denial of who I am as a soul. I found out that I am a high priestess, and that I can channel messages from any spirit, but I choose to keep it simple and only connect with my main five. Spirituality healing for me has been a lifelong struggle, which my guides tell me is the path I chose for my journey that my higher self wanted. I ultimately learned to trust the process and lean into faith.
That's powerful. I had a similar experience. Spirituality helped me find meaning in my struggles and gave me the strength to keep
Mhm.
going. But it wasn't always easy. Have you ever had moments where you doubted your spiritual journey?
All the time. All
Yeah.
the time. I still doubt it sometimes now.
You know what? Me too. Sometimes I just drive myself crazy,
Hmm.
when we really shouldn't. I think one thing we need to keep in mind is a healthy balance of still living our lives and working our spiritual journey, because sometimes we get too focused on the spiritual healing, we're not really living anymore. I think that me being isolated, just focus on my spiritual journey, it is depressing, but I think that's where balance comes in. It is
Hmm.
okay to still live your life and still be on your spiritual journey. So yeah.
That's true. Like
Yeah.
when I was going through the dark night of the soul, like I was stuck in my spiritual journey, and everything that I watched and listened to was all about. It was tarot card readings. It was about like Reiki. It was healing. I was doing everything in it, and I was so like not me, not who I was, and I thought that I was going to lose who I was at times and that I would always just be in the spiritual realm and always just reading, looking at tarot cards and doing all the spiritual stuff. And then one day it was like everything changed for me, and I was back to the old me, and I was listening to news and gossip and all the things that I had did before I started spiritual journey, I don't watch it as much as I did before, and I don't allow it to affect my energy. So if something's like really bad, I'll cut it off, but I still, but to go back to what I used to like and watch was different for me, and it was needed so that I wouldn't be so invested into the spiritual journey, even though it is part of my life now. It is, but also I can live a normal life too, like you said.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Let me see.
So, the spiritual healing process. Spiritual healing isn't about avoiding pain, it's about moving through it with intention and awareness. Let's talk about some key aspects of this journey: surrender and trust. Learning to let go and trust the universe. Shadow work. Facing the parts of yourself that need healing, forgiveness, releasing resentment for yourself and others. Inner guidance, connecting with your higher self, ancestors, or spiritual team. Rituals and practices, meditation, journaling, energy cleansing, and prayers.
Which of these has been the most transformative in your journey? Let's see if I can pick one. I think mine would be surrender and trust. Learning to let go and
Mm,
trust the universe. I'm learning to trust in the universe because I have a hard time discerning spirits. I'm like, oh, is that Jesus?
mm,
Is that a spirit? I have a hard
mm-hmm,
time doing that. And so what I'm doing now is I'm just learning to just pray and trust that God has got my back.
mm-hmm,
That's it. Dealing with all the spirits and whatever. I'm learning to vet them and distinguish between a good spirit and a bad spirit. Yeah, so inner guidance, connecting with your higher self. I mean, I did that. But again, that's where surrender and trust comes in. I have to trust just God. Read my Bible, trust that God's got
mm-hmm.
everything under control, and that's
hmm
it.
I would say for me, all of them. I had to learn to let go of my job and trust in the universe. I needed to be in control. I'm surrendering and trusting as we speak. I have an issue that is going on, and I have to surrender and trust that it's bothering me because I want to do something and that I have a problem allowing somebody else to take care of me, which is allowing the universe to take care of me because I've been so in control of everything in my life because I felt like that nobody was there taking care of me how I wanted to be taken care of, you know. And so, and I realized that it's because I didn't want to be disappointed because as a child, I felt like I was disappointed all the time and everybody. So, and when I look back, I realized that my whole life was a bunch of disappointments.
Yeah.
like from parents to friends yeah, just a whole bunch of coworkers to a whole bunch of just disappointments, and
Mm-hmm.
realizing that disappointment is a part of life.
Right.
Like
Mm-hmm.
my expectations are a little too high, and I can't expect everybody to not disappoint me just because my parents just disappointed me my whole life. I mean, not my
Mm-hmm.
whole life, but a lot. So I will say that it's been a journey. It has been. And the shadow work, and that's part of shadow work, looking at that those parts, like facing that I was an absent parent. I was emotionally absent to my parents. I mean, my bad, I'm not saying that right, that I was emotionally absent to my children because it was a learned behavior that I learned from my parents because they were emotionally absent to me. And I didn't want to be that type of parent to my kids because I tried to be attentive to them and to their emotions. But even with trying and going to get help for me so that I could be more emotionally available for my kids, I still found out that it wasn't good enough, and I should have done even more. And so that was a hard pill to swallow because like I prided myself in being a good parent and being there for my children and making sure that they had a better childhood than me and that I cared about their emotions and I showed them that I loved them and I told them that I loved them all the time and and making sure that they were happier and were able to be kids and to live free and to be who they are and all those things, and then to go through my shadow work and realize that through all my best interests I still failed. That really crushed me and hurt me and helped me realize why my kids were when they became adults for treating me the way that they were treating me. And it was because I wasn't emotionally there for them like they needed me to be there, because I was too busy worrying about providing for them more than being emotionally there for them. And not only that, like, how could I be there for them if I couldn't be there for myself because I was trying to figure it out
Right.
while going to counseling? You see, so and learning all
Mm-hmm.
that too.
Right.
My
Mm-hmm.
and my mother, and I didn't have and learning that me and my mother didn't really have a loving relationship, and it was based off the need for each other. And I chose to have relationships with people who I felt like betrayed me because I wasn't being real to myself. So that's what I learned on my spiritual journey too, was that I chose these people to be in my life because I wasn't being real to myself. And because of that, they betrayed me. And then I felt like it was their fault for betraying me, but it also was my fault because I was betraying myself at first. And if I didn't betray myself at first, I would have never been friends with none of them because I would have saw them when they was coming,
Right.
or I would have stopped them. I would have stopped a lot of the behaviors and stuff that happened, or I would have called them out on it. And then, whatever else would have happened instead of sweeping it under the rug and not paying attention to it because I'm trying to be a good friend, and allowing things to happen and unfold the way that they did. I
Mm-hmm.
had to learn forgiveness because I forgave everyone. And I forgave everyone that I thought treated me wrong. And I wrote it all out. And I wrote out what I felt they did to me and how angry I was at all of them and why I was angry at them. And that helped me a lot too, to release all that anger I had in me for feeling like I was this good person, that I had all their best interests, and that I had always been looking out for them. And then to find out that they really wasn't my friends and they really didn't have my back and they wasn't there for me, and that they were mad at me for being mad at them for not being there for me. And it was just a whole bunch of realizing that they wasn't the people I thought they was. And that felt like a that felt hurtful too,
Mm-hmm.
because while I was going around trying to be the best friend, coworker, mother, daughter, whatever to everybody around me, I had to realize that they wasn't to me, and that hurt. That was like felt like a really bad big betrayal.
Right.
And then, oh yeah, I set up an altar for my ancestors and started to talk to them. And yeah, I remember it being weird. Like I was like, do I just start talking to like nobody? Because you used to like having, be on the phone and talk to somebody, or somebody's in your house and you talking to them. You're not used to just talking by yourself in the house. You feel like you're crazy, like what am I doing, And so I had to get
Mm-hmm.
used to just talking to spirits and just, talking to my ancestors and my my grandma, just, waiting and waiting for them to respond to me through my environment, and so that was interesting. But first I prayed every day and I asked for help and I told them how grateful I was to have them and to try to get a relationship with them before I started channeling them. So this is totally different,
Mm-hmm.
being able to channel them. I
Mm-hmm.
created rituals when I took spiritual baths and saged my house on a weekly basis. I started to practice healing modalities. I ended up with box meditation only through my nose every morning, yoga and exercising for at least 5 days a week. So
Right.
I did everything.
Wow. I think I'm still going through my healing journey right now. Um.
After he reminds you, like, wait a minute, like I
Yeah.
got a lot to
Right.
do.
You went through so much, and I'm like, wait a minute. I got it. Okay. Okay. So, spill your truth is where we take a deeper look at different spiritual healing techniques and how they can help us on our journey to recovery. This is the part of the podcast where we break down powerful spiritual practices like meditation, shadow work, affirmations, and energy cleansing. These aren't just buzzwords, they are tools that can help us move through trauma, release emotional wounds, and reconnect with our inner strength. Grab your tea, settle in, and let's spill your truth together.
Meditation and mindfulness. Finding peace in the present moment. Meditation and mindfulness helps bring us into a present moment by allowing us to slow down, breathe, and tune in to our thoughts without judgment. When we meditate, we create space between ourselves and our emotions, helping us observe them rather than being consumed by them. Mindfulness teaches us to stay present, reduce anxiety about the past or future, and bring a sense of peace. Even just a few minutes a day can help quiet mental chatter, ease pain, and reconnect us with our inner selves. What has been your experience with meditation and mindfulness? So I'll say I know both of them work. I
Mm-hmm.
found out about mindfulness through mental health counseling, and so they had us like take be in groups, and when we was doing the group work, they was always talking about mindfulness and being still and slowing down everything. And so years ago I did a lot of mindfulness meditation. I've always struggled with. I will always tell you that it was hard for me to sit down and breathe for even 5 minutes a day because my mind was always racing and running, and I felt like if I was always thinking while I was meditating, then it wasn't working. But that's not true. You got to start somewhere. So yeah, I've done it all. But I will say that working with nonverbal kids helped me the most because I had to slow down to communicate with them, to read their body language, to know what it was that they wanted, to know that they were hungry, to know that they were sad, mad, to know whether they were happy, and what they were trying to communicate. And so for me being able
Yes, I
to
did that.
so mindfulness helped me to slow down so that I could meditate. Even though I had learned mindfulness and I didn't meditate, but later on I was able to learn how to meditate. So if you have problems like me with meditating, start with 5 minutes a day and then slowly add more time. The longer you do it consistently, the more you'll
Mm-hmm.
be able to do. Then you'll be able to do 30 minutes a day because we live in a busy, fast paced world and we need to take time every day to slow down and ground ourselves, and meditation helps with that. Kari, what's your experience with meditation and mindfulness?
All right. My experience with meditation mind is meditation for me, I think because I didn't meditate a lot. Meditation for me was very calming, and it took me into a place of peace and wholeness. And
Mm.
mindfulness, I'm still working on that. Cause my mind is all over the place. I'm always in my head thinking all the time. I'm a Gemini, so we always overthink. But I don't meditate a lot, but meditation has helped me relax. It has helped me find peace within myself, and it has. I think it. And I tried to have like out of body experiences by doing it.
Mhm.
I was close
Mhm.
to doing it, but then I would get scared. So
Mhm.
meditation is like really good for like having out of body experiences and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
I don't meditate a lot, so I wouldn't say that is something that I should. I actually should start meditating because I feel like when I
Every
start
day.
meditating, I feel like I raise my frequency. You know what I mean? Because there's a certain way
Mhm.
you do it. You gotta sit down with your legs crossed and put your arms on your legs, and and you can really feel yourself like elevating to a higher vibration when you meditate, and it's so crazy. Cross your
You can
legs.
feel that? I can't feel
Yeah,
that.
I can feel it.
Mm-mm.
Like I don't know. I guess I can feel stuff more. But
Yeah, you can.
yeah. So I'm thinking I'm gonna start meditating, like, cause I would normally lay on my back and do it, but
Mm.
I'm gonna start like meditating the right way,
I
like
don't think it
just
matters. I've done it all. I've done it on my back. I've done it sitting on a chair. I've done it with my legs crossed. I don't think it matters as long as you do it.
yeah. I think when you meditate, you go into your inner self. You. I don't know how to explain it, but it's sort of like
Calm your spirit.
yeah, you can see your inner self like in a way,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because I used to feel like I used to feel like I was always on the go 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 go. Like my spirit
hmm
was always like, let's run, let's go, always in a hurry, always like trying to speed things up. And when I started meditating, I realized that feeling went away. And
Mm.
I don't have as much anxiety either.
Yeah. I wonder if that stuff makes you younger too. But
Probably does.
you know
It
what? Then
takes the stress off
I'll
you.
start doing it every day. Then that's because I'll start messing. Shoot.
You funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna start meditating every day because it is calming. Shadow work,
Hmm.
facing and healing deep emotional wounds. Shadow work allows us to confront and heal hidden emotional wounds by bringing awareness to the parts of ourselves that we often suppress or deny. These may include past traumas, fears, insecurities, or negative patterns that impact our lives. By facing these shadows with honesty and compassion, we can begin to release emotional baggage, break toxic cycles, and step into a more authentic and healed version of ourselves. Shadow work is a powerful tool for self discovery and deep inner healing. So, have you ever done shadow work and what did it reveal to you? Shadow work was probably the hardest part because it required an ego death. And one of the hardest parts is taking accountability for
You'll be.
for my BS and stop acting like I'm always a victim and blaming everyone else when it's like no, like
Mhm. No,
so
you had a role in this too. Yeah.
yep. So shadow work was the hardest part because you gotta have an ego death, and having ego death means you become a new person. And
Hmm.
what I've realized when it comes to taking accountability, you feel like you've risen higher in vibration. Like no, seriously, you can really feel it, and
Hmm.
you also feel when you actually start to go within you become
Hmm.
more one with yourself and you stop ignoring your flaws. When you start correcting your flaws and acknowledging them, you become more whole with yourself. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like have you ever felt like that way before?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know exactly everything you're talking about.
Yeah, so having an ego death is it's a good thing because it might be scary, but like people
Mm.
need to let go of that I'm right and you're wrong attitude and really go within because the only way you're going to be right is to have an ego death.
Yep.
You can't just,
Be authentic to
yep,
yourself.
right. It's all about authenticity. I can't even say it. And just being true to who
I
you
have
are.
trouble with that word too.
Right. I'm like, why I can never say the word right. But it really is self discovery. Like you're discovering a part of yourself that you ignored for so long. And
Hmm.
once you take accountability, you become more humble. You become a better person. I think a lot of times a lot of people run away from their problems and they end up with no friends because they never want to take accountability.
Exactly. It's everybody else's fault but theirs.
Yep, exactly. So what's your experience with that?
So I believe that shadow work is essential to learning how to love your whole self, not just the good side, the side of you you show to the world. You have to learn to love the side of you that you hide and the reason why you hide that side of you. Now, shadow work reveals so much about my self sabotaging behaviors, my relationships with myself and the world, the mirror I was looking at, and my core issues. It also helped me to heal my present and past life karma. When you heal your shadow, you heal all of your timelines at the same time. That is why your soul keeps coming back to earth to heal its karma and learn the lesson it wants to learn. That is why you will repeat lessons until you learn from them in this lifetime or the next. Shadow work is more than just confronting the side of you that you don't like. It is about learning to love the side of you that you deny daily. Work is about knowing all of you, not just one side of you. And sometimes you have to look at why your shadow side chooses to do the same thing to make you not like you or act like the way you do. And so for me, like it's the core like shadow work emotions. Learning that I wasn't as good as a parent as I thought I was, that I really didn't have a good relationship with my mother, but in my mind, I made it that way so that I could tolerate her. Learning that I do not like being uncomfortable, even if I'm okay. It's just I feel uncomfortable, but I had to acknowledge that everything's okay. I'm fine. I have everything that I need. I'm just uncomfortable because I just don't like feeling uncomfortable, um, or learning about, what is it, like being disappointed and learning that I don't like people to help me and I don't like asking for help because I don't want to be disappointed. All this
Right.
time I thought I was just hyper independent and I was just like, I could do it myself. No, I just don't want to be disappointed in anybody because my expectations were too high. And what
Hmm.
I'm learning is that you really need to not have expectations in anyone or anything. because then you're less likely to be disappointed,
That's
And so yeah, I would say like shadow work has really, and this ego death, like you said, like the ego death is just it brings all that up and it lets you know that you're not the victim, that you had a role in everything, and that's humbling too. Is learning
yeah.
that you had a role, like you picked those people to be in your life, you chose to keep them in your life, you chose to not be you, to have those people in your life, and then you're mad because they treated you the way that you knew that they were going to treat you because
Mm-hmm.
you already knew who they were at first,
Right.
and realizing that you have a choice in this and you could have stopped it, but you chose not to stop it because you were worried more about their emotions than your own, you know, and that you caused your own pain to happen. And because you wanted to be liked or loved. And that was another thing for me learning with my shadow work was that everything I did was because I wanted to be liked or loved. And I didn't want to be abandoned or
Right.
rejected. And so I had to be okay with being abandoned and rejected and and see that as a part of life, just the emotion. Everybody gets rejected, not everybody gets abandoned.
Right. Right.
Everybody has moments in life where they get rejected, and that's normal, or being
Mm-hmm.
disappointed or
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable, those type of, and that's why I call them hard emotions, because for me those are hard emotions. And those are the ones that I ran from and didn't want to feel. But being on this spiritual journey, I've been forced to face them and acknowledge them and feel them and to go within and to learn why and where it comes from and what's the root, of why I feel this way and why I don't want nobody taking care of me and why I'm so hyper productive and I have to always feel like I'm trying to achieve and do something at all times, and that I just can't give myself a break because it makes me feel less than, but it's all coming from not having to depend on other people to be disappointed in them, because I would rather be disappointed in myself than in other people. I guess that's what I've learned.
Hmm. Okay.
Affirmations
Mhm.
and mantras, reprogramming the mind for healing. Affirmations and mantras help reprogram our mindset by replacing negative self-talk and with positive, empowering beliefs. When we constantly speak words of healing, self-love, and encouragement, we begin to shift our subconscious thoughts and energy. Over time, these affirmations create a new mental narrative that support our growth, confidence, and emotional well-being. By repeating mantras daily, we reinforce self-worth and align ourselves with the healing and love we deserve. How have you used affirmations in your healing process? I have to say all the time. I will say affirmations every day, at least once a day. Like I'll be scrolling through Facebook, or I mean not Facebook, Instagram or YouTube, and I'll see affirmation and I'll say it because I know that that is important to say those things, to put your energy out into the universe and to speak things as if they already are, And so um I made an affirmation that I read every day for months. I believe that if you are addicted to negative thoughts, then you need to say affirmations all the time to counter them. I have to say I am worthy of love and acceptance because I believe that I wasn't for so long, and sometimes still wonder, do I? I say I am proud of myself because I am the hardest on myself. Sometimes I need to acknowledge that I am doing a good job. I trust my
Mhm.
decisions because I have a hard time trusting myself because I have high expectations of myself. I am strong and resilient because I feel weak and timid at times in my life. I deserve happiness when you grow up in a dysfunctional family, you may not think you deserve happiness. I am worthy of good things because, again, when you are addicted to negative thinking, you don't think you're worthy because all you can think is why you're not.
Okay.
Do you say affirmations?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were still talking. I don't say I'm enough. When I do,
Mm,
though, it's weird. My energy just changes so drastically. Like it's crazy how your thoughts have that much power.
power.
Yeah. I feel like I had no control, but you really do. Not just in your physical life, but how you think
Mm,
about yourself really changes your atmosphere and changes everything around you, because our thoughts are
mm,
connected to the universe, connected to God. When we have a thought, it goes out into the universe and it affects, how we live. How we live? So I'm starting to realize affirmations are very important because the more affirmations, the higher you raise your vibration. Yep. I'm starting to
Your
realize
thoughts.
that now because for a long time, I thought I had no control over my thoughts. For real. My thoughts are all over the
Yeah,
place, out
me
of
too.
control. But God said, but like, we have control over our thoughts. We just, got to learn how to say affirmations, be like, I am great. No, I blah, 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 whatever. And trust me, like your life will change just with thoughts.
That's true. Cause
Mm-hmm.
I used to say it all the time,
Yeah.
and my thoughts change.
Yep. So yeah, affirmations are very important. It's almost like a spell. You know how people like use spells? It's sort
They
of
are
like,
spells.
yeah, but that's the thing is like they're
Mhm.
spells, but it's just like we call it affirmations, but like that's where spell work comes from. It comes
Yeah,
from manifesting through words. Yep.
but when people think about spells, they think about bad.
Yeah.
Trying to put negative energy onto somebody. But what I found out through this process is that saying good things is a spell too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Energy cleansing, removing negative energy from your space. Energy cleansing helps clear negativity and restore balance to our spirit by removing stagnant or heavy energy that can weigh us down emotionally and spiritually. Practices like smudging with sage, taking spiritual baths, using crystals, or sound healing help purify our aura and create a sense of renewal. By regularly cleansing our energy, we create space for positivity, peace, and alignment with our higher self. How do you cleanse your energy when you're feeling drained? Affirmations. When I'm feeling drained, normally I would go to
Mhm.
video games and all that, but I've learned to say affirmations to feel better. Sometimes, even when I'm feeling sick, I'll tell myself I'm not sick. And the more I tell myself that, the more I feel, not sick, I
Better.
feel better. I think that our thoughts really do play a really big role in our physical reality. We just don't know it.
Oh yeah.
And I realized that my negative thinking is probably the reason why I'm in this situation that I'm in now.
Yep.
Yep.
What
So,
I found out is that it's an addiction to negative thoughts. And
yeah.
it's like a replay. It's like a broken record. It's always these negative thoughts constantly coming up. And once you decide to be intentional and start to counter them and say positive things all the time, then those thoughts go away.
Space and spirit. What's your experience with,
With cleansing my energy when I feel drained.
yeah.
Well, so I think my issue is that I know when I'm feeling drained, but I tend to ignore it. And I think that's just a trauma response that I just,
Removing
because
negative
I'll
energy
feel a
from your
heavy
space and spirit.
feeling or I'll feel like a blockage or whatever, and I'll just sit around and act like it's not there and ignore it until like my guys have you like message me and say I feel your energy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
then I will sit in it and deal with my why my energy feels drained or whatever, to help me get unstuck and make me slow down and notice how I'm feeling and journal why I feel drained.
Mm-hmm.
I used to clean every day. No, I used to cleanse my energy every day in my house every week to keep negative energy away from me. But now I understand that I have ascended high enough that I don't have to cleanse my energy at all because I'm protected by my spiritual team. They clean my energy. You all can ascend to that level too when you turn your pain into power and ascend. The
Mm-hmm.
reason why I am so protected is because of the work I put in to love myself on this journey of self love. When you
Right.
show the universe that you love yourself, you will be protected by your guides too. Sip and Heal is a part of the podcast where we talk about how to take everything we discuss and actually apply it to your healing journey. Healing through spiritual growth isn't just about knowing what to do, it's about embracing the process and making it part of your daily life. Grab your tea, settle in, and let's sip and heal together.
Your healing is yours alone. There's no right way to grow spiritually. Trust your own path and listen to your inner guidance. Your spiritual path is yours. There's no right way to heal, and no one can tell you exactly how to connect with your higher self. Whether you find peace through meditation, prayer, journaling, or connecting with nature, trust that your journey is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. How have you came to terms with that this spiritual journey is yours and you can only do it your way? Again, going back to your thoughts create your reality. I realize that no one can really
Mm-hmm.
control my life. I'm the only one that has control over my life. And when we realize how powerful we are, and the Bible says, if you believe enough, you can move a mountain. I'm like, what? But I'm starting to realize, like, our thoughts
How
really
powerful.
are what, and I, what really, because I'm trying to think of something. Yeah, our thoughts really do shape our reality because our mind is like literally our soul is connected to the spiritual realm, and
Mm-hmm.
all the thoughts you have really connect with vibrations. And so, one thing we need to understand is our souls are connected to the spiritual realm, and our thoughts really do play a part in where we go when we die, how we treat people, because God looks at the heart. He looks at how you really feel. He doesn't look at the physical. He looks at your heart. He says, you're not of this world. Meaning, like, our soul, like, it's not about the physical things. It's really about your soul and your soul's journey. And I'm realizing that we all have a choice to do right. And it's really up to us to choose the right path. And yeah, that's pretty much how it sums it up for me. Yeah, we all have a choice. I mean, they're not, no one can hold your hand.
And the way we do it, yep.
Yeah.
I think like for me, I think a lot of our programming is like group thinking. It's like we gotta do things together and as a group and to have people who agree with it and see that it's okay. But what I've realized, like your spiritual journey is yours alone, and that is it.
Right.
There is no group thinking. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's
Hmm.
mainly like what is best for you and your spirit, and that is it
Right.
and what it is that you chose for your journey,
Hmm.
before you reincarnated on Earth. And
Right.
so for me, I'm still struggling with this because I wanted my spiritual journey to look like anybody else's. And the hard part for me is that it doesn't look like anybody else because it's mine alone and I have a rare journey. I like to have a point of reference to help me know what's going to be next on my journey but my journey is so rare that I will not know what's next, and I have to just trust my guides will hold my hand on the path. I'm a person that needs certainty in my life because my childhood was chaotic and uncertain, and uncertainty is a big red flag for me. I instantly get uncomfortable, and it's hard for me to move on from it. I tend to get stuck because I'm too scared to move, or I take forever to move through it. So my guides are working with me to help me trust the process and that I am capable of getting through this unique journey, uncomfortable and all.
Hmm.
Daily spiritual practices for healing. Incorporating small, intentional spiritual practices into your daily life can make a huge difference. Small, intentional practices can create big shifts in your healing. Maybe that's starting your morning with deep breaths and gratitude, pulling an oracle card for guidance, or taking 5 minutes to sit in silence and check in with yourself. Whatever it is, make space for your spiritual growth every day. In what ways have you made small intentional changes in your life with your new spiritual practices for healing? I'll say that I have started to take care of my spirit, mind, and body first every day. I don't look at my phone as long as I can before I get dressed and eat breakfast. I know now that meditation, yoga, and exercising for me shows myself love and making sure that I have the best chance of having a good day by starting every day with showing myself love. Throughout my spiritual awakening, I have been making small changes the whole way through my thoughts and patterns that I have chose to face and change every day. The hardest thing to change is your thought pattern. When you are stuck in a negative thought cycle that keeps you stuck thinking negatively. But when you consistently and intentionally make little changes to your negative thought patterns, you start to see that you are in control of your thoughts and can change them on one small step at a time. How about you, Kari?
Well, I don't think I've completely made like big changes yet, but intentional changes. I think I'm learning how to treat people again, how to talk to people, and not be
Mm-hmm.
so quick to blame people for things. I'm more forgiving and willing to give people a chance.
Mm-hmm.
It's also taught me how to be more patient with myself and kinder to myself, and realize that um, It's okay to make mistakes as long as you reflect and you take accountability for your actions.
Mm-hmm.
Those are small intentional changes I've made in my life. All right.
That's good.
Yeah. Sometimes healing requires us to pause and reflect. Here are a few journal prompts to help you dive deeper into your spiritual growth. How has spirituality helped me heal? What spiritual practices make me feel connected and whole? What past wounds am I ready to release? These prompts can help you reflect on your journey and see your progress. Now, I want you to think about this. What's one spiritual practice that has helped you the most in your healing journey? Take a moment to reflect, and if you feel called, share your thoughts with us in the comments or on social media. What's one spiritual practice that has helped me the most? Spiritual practice. Taking back power and control of my thoughts is one spiritual practice that is helping me on my spiritual journey, is that I'm the one that has the power over my circumstances and over my life and over my thoughts, and no one else can control that but me. And so I'm learning that I am powerful because of that alone, and I'm learning to take my power back. What about you?
That's good.
Yeah.
For me, journaling is the spiritual practice that helped me the most. Like through this whole spiritual awakening and ego death, I was journaling every single day and I was dumping my emotions into it and what was going on and how I was feeling. And I used to journal like every single day. And then when I started channeling my guides, I didn't need to do it as much anymore. But I used to, and now like when I get stuck in stuff, like I will ask ChatGPT like give me a self-reflection question so that I can journal it and and answer all these questions to deal with what I'm going through, whether it's betrayal or, like I said, or caring about what other people think about me or disappointment or whatever. Like I will ask questions and journal. I journal probably every day now. Not every day, but at least once a week to get those heavy thoughts off of my mind and things that are bothering me. Like if something is bothering me, I got this new thing I do. I said, "What's on your mind?" And then I start writing about what it is that is bothering me and why is it on my mind. So I've been doing that a lot recently. When I can get my thoughts on paper or on a journal app, that is when I feel the results because my thoughts will immediately change my energy and I feel a shift in my mindset. That is why when I am upset, confused, or stuck, I will immediately start to journal so that I can see why I feel that way, why I
Mm-hmm.
feel the way that I feel. And if I can't think of anything, then I will ask ChatGPT to help me with the issue with self-reflection questions that will help me to think through my feelings. Emotions can be hard and heavy, and sometimes you need to ask the right questions to be able to get to the core issue.
Okay. Spiritual growth is a journey, not a destination. Give yourself grace, trust your process, and know that every step you take is leading you closer to your highest self. Affirmation: I am healing, growing, and aligning with my highest self.
Tell us in the comments how has spirituality helped you heal. Tag us on social media with your thoughts and spiritual practices.
Thank you for joining us on Sip and Spill Your Truth. Remember, healing is a journey, and spirituality can be your guide.
Take care of yourself, trust your path, and we'll see you in the next episode. Until then, sit, reflect, and keep growing.